Remember that moment between Jimin and Jungkook in Are You Sure? That literally screamed, without subtitles and without shame, this looks like a kiss. Because there are scenes that don't need context or deep analysis for something inside you to say, wait, what did I just see? And this is one of them. There are moments in Are You Sure? That are so obvious, so organic, so full of unfakeable intimacy. The really strange thing is that they don't talk about them more. It's as if everyone saw them, processed them silently, and moved on as if nothing happened. But no, it did happen. And it was powerful. Let's get straight to the point. The first episode of Season 2. Switzerland. Postcard-like scenery. A tranquil atmosphere. A travelogue where defenses are down and people are relaxed. Jimin and Jungkook are exploring the place where they'll be staying, walking, observing, commenting on simple things. Everything flows naturally, until suddenly, without warning, it happens. Jimin, who possesses pure body language, pure emotional impulses, he did what clearly comes naturally. In the world of BTS, every small gesture can turn into a major conversation. But this time it felt different. It wasn't just the camera flash or the fans' imaginations, but rather an inexplicable aura. When the vacation happened, many armies began to wonder, has Jikook stopped pretending? What should have seemed like a relaxed and peaceful vacation instead became a moment that sparked thousands of theories. Jungkook and Jimin seemed far more natural than usual. There was no awkward distance, no fake expressions. Instead, what was apparent was a comfort too deep to be called mere togetherness. The way they stood close together, their synchronized body language, and the brief glances caught on camera left many speechless. What made the situation even more intriguing was how they seemed to forget the world was watching. Usually, Jikook is known for being very cautious in public spaces, but this time, their gestures felt more relaxed. Jungkook's small smile when Jimin spoke, the way Jimin turned as if reflexively searching for Jungkook, even quiet moments that felt the most noisy to fans. Then came a moment that almost made the fandom stop breathing. A camera angle, a too close distance, and a movement so quick yet intense. There was no clear confirmation, no concrete evidence. But it was enough to raise one big question. Was it almost a kiss? Of course, no one could be sure. But what was interesting wasn't just the possibility, but their reactions afterward. There was no panic, no excessive attempts to distance themselves. Instead, they remained in the same space, with calm expressions as if they had nothing to hide. For many armies, this attitude felt the most brave. For years, Jikook had been known as a duo with strong chemistry. From spontaneous laughter backstage to emotional support often seen without words. But this holiday moment felt like a new layer. It wasn't just joking or skinship that could be described as fan service, but a closeness that felt personal. Some fans said this was the point where Jikook no longer tried to hide their feelings. It wasn't that they were making an official announcement, but the way they acted seemed to say, "This is who we are, just the way we are." There was no clarification, but there was also no denial. What was clear was that this vacation left a strong emotional mark. Not because of one viral moment alone, but because the overall atmosphere felt more honest. Was this confirmation? No. Was it a coincidence? Maybe. But for many armies, this was one of the most real moments they'd ever seen from Jikook. And perhaps that's precisely where the answer lies. Not in whether there was a kiss, but in the comfort of two people who seemed no longer afraid to show their closeness. Had Jikook stopped pretending? The world may not yet know the answer. But one thing was certain. This vacation made everyone see them in a different way. Following that moment, the fandom's reaction was like a massive, unstoppable wave. Social media was filled with video clips, screenshots, and body language analysis, replayed over and over again. Every second was scrutinized, every expression dissected. But beneath it all, there was one common feeling: confusion mixed with hope. Many armies felt that what they saw this time wasn't just an overinterpretation, but something truly sincere. Interestingly, neither Jungkook nor Jimin displayed any defensiveness after the vacation. There were no sudden clarifications, no deliberate distancing in their subsequent appearances. While rumors are usually greeted with extra caution, this time, the opposite seemed to be true. They continued their interactions as usual, even with a warmer atmosphere. It was as if they were choosing to let the public see what they truly wanted to see. Some longtime fans began to recall small moments from the past. A lingering stare at a concert, a light, meaningful touch, or the way Jungkook often seemed most protective when Jimin was near him. All of this was now being reassembled, not to prove a claim, but to understand a journey. This vacation felt like the culmination of a closeness that had been building for years. Others argued that precisely because it happened during a vacation, everything felt more honest. No stage, no script, no demands of an idle image. All that remained was two people enjoying time together. And in such a space, emotions are often the hardest to hide. Smiles were no longer faked, reactions no longer tightly controlled. The question of stopping pretending began to shift in meaning. Maybe it wasn't about pretending to be something they weren't, but rather about stopping disguising a long-standing comfort. Not a verbal confession, but an acknowledgement through actions. And for many, that felt even more powerful. However, amidst the euphoria and speculation, some ARMY also chose to hold back. They reminded them that whatever Jungkook and Jimin's relationship was, it was a private matter. Love, if it exists, doesn't always have to be announced to be real. And perhaps the beauty of this moment lies in its uncertainty. One thing is undeniable. After that vacation, the way people viewed Jungkook changed. There was a greater sense of maturity, calm, and honesty. No longer just a duo with great chemistry, but two individuals who seemed completely at ease with each other, without needing much explanation. Did a kiss actually happen? We may never know the answer, but did this moment leave a deep emotional mark? Absolutely. And perhaps, for Jungkook and Jimin, that's what matters most. Not what they saw. As time passed, that vacation moment didn't fade. Instead, it grew into an emotional reference point that was constantly mentioned whenever Jungkook and Jimin appeared together. Something had changed, and it was subtle yet consistent. The way they responded to each other now seemed more in sync, as if they had become accustomed to reading each other's hearts without the need for words. In subsequent appearances, many ARMYs caught small details they might have missed before. Jungkook reflexively matching his steps to Jimin's, Jimin smiling more gently when Jungkook spoke. Simple things, yet they felt imbued with meaning because they weren't forced. There were no overly exaggerated gestures. It was precisely that calmness that made it all feel real. Interestingly, the silence between them also spoke volumes. In the entertainment world full of noise and spotlight, silence is often the most honest language.